As we begin chapter 12, we introduce another verbal form known as the preterite. You will remember from chapter 5 that one of the other terms for the imperfect conjugation was the prefix conjugation, because the imperfect involves the addition of prefixes to the verbal root. Older Semitic languages, from which Hebrew descended, as well as many other Semitic languages, had a prefix conjugation that was known as the preterite. Unlike the imperfect, though, the preterite explicitly indicated past time. Originally, you would have been able to tell an imperfect apart from a preterite because the imperfect would have had a longer vowel at the ending, and the preterite would have had a shorter vowel or no vowel ending at the end of the verbal form. However, over the years as Hebrew evolved, it eventually dropped final vowels, meaning that what were originally two distinct forms, the preterite and the imperfect, look now as if they are the same form. It is important to know, however, that the existence of the preterite is not in any way related to the imperfect or derived from the imperfect, but is in fact the residue or the remains of an earlier full verbal form. You will find that the preterite will occasionally survive in Biblical Hebrew in poetic passages, and it will often survive in Biblical Hebrew in a specific conjugation that we will call the narrative conjugation. This narrative form is often in other grammars called either the Vav consecutive or the Vaikitol conjugation. For instance, the preterite survives in Biblical Hebrew in poetry in a passage like Psalm 18:2, Yashet Choshek Sitro. He made darkness his covering. This form Yashet is a preterite. Or, for an example in what we call the narrative tense, consider Genesis 6:7. Vayomer Adonai, and the Lord said. You will occasionally also find a preterite in prose, and if so, it will usually follow the adverb az, which glosses as then. For instance, from Exodus 15, the introduction to the Song of Moses, we have in prose, Az Yashir Moshe Uvenei Yisrael et ha-shirah hazot la-Adonai. Az, then, and Yashir, a preterite form. Moses sang.